second as people roll in here. I'm, of course, Paul Glasgow with Legally Armed America, coming to you guys live on a Friday night. Tonight is, let's see, Friday, August the 27th. I'm going to wait for a lot of these guys to come in the room real quick. I want to give a shout out to people who make this happen, who make the live stream happen. Of course, Dirty Boars, CLP, and Gun Cleaner. My friends over at Courage CBD. These guys, this is stuff that I use. It's stuff that I use. And of course, my friends at Spartan Armor. And we'll talk more about all of these guys here in a little bit as we go through here. Again, Courage CBD, big time. Got rid of my tennis elbow. Of course, I use all the Dirty Boar products, the CLP and the Gun Cleaner. Those are big to me as far as keeping my guns in good operating condition, especially in conditions like we have right now. Hurricane on the way. And of course, speaking of hurricanes, now is that time when I actually look for my body armor. Throw it in the back of the vehicle. You never know. If we have hurricanes that roll through here, it's never a bad idea to have a little bit more protection than what you typically would need. And this is one of the few times that I actually seek out my body armor to have it on standby. You know, any other time is just kind of like, well, you know, if it's in my vehicle, if I need it, if something happens, something crazy, something really jumps off somewhere, something like that. But during a hurricane, you never know. You have I guess, a higher likelihood of running across looters and things like that, depending on the severity of the hurricane. Of course, we've got Hurricane Ida that's coming in right now, state of Louisiana. I say coming in, it's still a couple days away, but it's on its way in. Heading across the Gulf, I believe it's probably crossing over Cuba or just off of Cuba right now, which is not a good sign. That means it's heading into open waters, into warm water. And yeah, we're going to have, it's going to be hot. It's going to be one of those things where we are going to experience, the state of Louisiana is going to experience some pretty nasty stuff. Let's see here, pulling up the live feed on my computer or my Mac so that I can follow along with you guys. If you guys are in the room, say hi. As you see, this is my makeshift studio. This is kind of a catch-all room for me in my house, and a little bit an indoor portion of a studio that's actually one of the bedrooms in my house. But I have tons of stuff in here. I mean, I get a lot of stuff sent to me. I've got guns, guitars, cabinetry in here. I put my big flag up behind me. You can see way at the top over there. Let me see if I can get my finger looking at it right. Yep, there. You see some of the NASCAR die casts that I've collected over the years. Most of what I have up on that top shelf up there, it's autograph stuff. I see a Terry Labonte car up there, and it looks like that might be a Davey Allison car up there also, and I think I see a Rusty Wallace car behind it. I've got some pretty cool stuff. Steve Kinzer, I've got a Steve Kinzer Dirt Track World of Outlaws car up there as well, that Steve signed for me in the pits. I believe it was in Charlotte one year. So anyway, waiting for you guys to come rolling in. Good evening to everybody that is rolling in. And again, my name is Paul Glasgow with Legally Armed America on our Friday Night Live for Legally Armed America. Again, don't forget to check out my friends over at not only Dirty Boar, Gun Cleaner, and CLP, but of course my other good friends with the Courage CBD. This is stuff that I actually use. I sought these guys out and I love their products. Does a lot for me as far as I guess calming nature for sleeping, tennis elbow. It really takes care of my tendinitis, not tonight. I wish something would take care of my tinnitus, but my tendinitis, it definitely does wonders for that. And of course, Spartan Armor. I've got a couple different pieces of armor that I'll show you guys here in a little bit. These guys make this possible. I'm hoping to put together a podcast at some point. I've got a lot of my truck driving friends out there. A lot of truck drivers follow my show, and they've been asking me to please put together a podcast. So it's kind of in the works right now. I'm on the verge of, soliciting some sponsors and whatnot. Hey guys, what's going on? Those of you guys that are popping in. Trying to get some sponsors lined up so that I can at least pay for my time. Because, I mean, as you guys know, I mean, it takes stuff, some funds to do all that. I mean, microphones and all, not to mention your time. So I am trying to put that together. If you guys know of any sponsors that might be interested, I'm planning to do the podcast once a week. Most likely would probably put the episode out, say probably on a Tuesday if I had to guess. It would be cool to put it out on a Monday, but a lot of times news rolls out on a Monday. So sometimes I would be a whole week behind before covering any of the big things. But who knows? I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to put it together. I have done episodes of a podcast in the past. I call it my high capacity podcast. So my goal is to just pick that back up again, but raise the bar a little bit, make it a little bit higher quality and whatnot. I would probably video it also. Not sure, not 100% sure how I'm gonna do that yet, but I may video that also. So it may be like a half-hour video podcast also. So any of you guys out there could take a look at it. I would like to also, everyone who has purchased my book, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is actually, and I want to show you because I don't want you to think that I'm BSing you. This is the, where is it at? Second edition of the book, meaning that this is the second run, especially in the hardback. I still have a couple of paperbacks left, but the hardback, it's sold out. The hardback sold out in about a week and a half. Finally got a fresh new shipment in, several boxes of these. So I'm going to have these tomorrow. There's a gun show in Lake Charles, Louisiana at the Civic Center. I will be there doing book signings, and I'll bring my book there. I will have paperbacks also, but I'll be bringing a hardback. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Any of you that bought my book, first of all, thank you. Because my book is put out there for the future of my son. Some of you guys know the story behind my son, but I'm putting that out there as a fund to help my son out when I'm gone. So that's what my intent with the book is. It's not to get rich or anything like that. It's to defer those funds to help my son live a better life once me and his mom are gone. So thank you, because it is going to a good cause. Even though it is an indirect cause down the road, it is going to a good cause. But secondly, I'm totally humbled by the fact that you guys have bought so many of my books. I was not expecting that. I do think it's a great read. I do think it's a good story. I say story, essentially, if I had to wrap this thing up in a nutshell, it's that the anti-gun movement has consistently sat back and said how I wish we would stop having mass shooters, as they call them. What are we going to do about it? How do we put an end to this? And then they name their groups gun safety groups, but they do nothing for gun safety, while we over here in the gun industry fight so hard for gun safety to actually push and implement true safety programs. And they do nothing, but they hijack the phrase gun safety, but yet they make millions and millions of dollars. All that's in here. I actually did all the research. All the facts are in here. To not try to mislead anybody, I literally have, from this part of the book right here all the way to the front, to the back of it. All of this is footnotes, all of this. So this is all endnotes where I cite my references. So anyone that questions anything that I put in here, if I put a fact in here, if I put a number in here, if I put anything in here, for instance, I put in here on page 58, doubling down on their failure, the Every Student Succeeds Act was passed by Congress in 2015 to replace the failed No Child Left Behind Act. Oops, that wasn't a footnote. I'm sitting here reading you just some ambiguous. Here we go. In 2010, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation bankrolled the cumbersome, confusing, and highly controversial Common Core State Standards Program to the tune of $200 million in order to gain bipartisan national support, along with that of the American Federation of Teachers, the National Education Association, and even organizers such as the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Then I put my footnote right there. So as you see, right above my finger, it says number 81 right there. That's number 81 in the long line of endnotes at the end of the book. So anyone that questions the data and the facts that I actually present in this book can simply go look at any of that stuff, follow the link, go to a link, look it up based on the reference and the source that I submit you, and see if I'm telling the truth or not. I didn't want anyone from the anti-gun left because they are hammered hard in this book. The anti-gun left, I expose them for all the millions and millions of dollars that they make, for the fact that they do nothing for gun safety, but yet they make tons of money. They are exposed in this. And I know that when they get their hands on this book, they're going to try to pick it apart and prove me as being a liar. So I put as much research and references in here as I could to make sure that this is not a book packed with my opinion. This is not an op-ed. This is not a book where I'm just spouting on for however many, 225 pages. That's not what this book is about. This book has a lot of interesting data in it. As you see, I'm talking about No Child Left Behind. I talk about a lot of things that have hurt this country over the years, and how a lot of this builds up into these kids who are bullied, not treated right, not parented properly, and then they evolve into, in some cases, mass killers. And I call them rampage killers in the book. And then towards the end of the book, I actually offer solutions. I put several solutions in here, things that I think will help, us raise better kids. And I'm not the father of the year or anything like that. That's not my thing. But I do know what has worked for me, what did good for me growing up. Maybe things that I saw that my parents could have done differently. So I try to raise my son a little bit differently. I am an older parent, so I'm 53 years old. So there are things that I'm older, wiser, and that I see that I probably wouldn't have done as good raising my son 10 years ago or 15 or 20 years ago. Definitely not in my 20s. I would not have been a good father in my 20s. But nevertheless, I've got some really good information here, guys. It's how to watch out for signs for our kids when they're having problems. It's also hardening our schools. I've got a section in here on hardening our schools. You've got the anti-gun movement out there who says that they can't see hardening our schools because it would make kids feel like that they're in a prison. Well, I've got that in here. Let me see if I can find that. Let's see. Here we go. If you guys don't mind, and I'll get off my book here in a second, I want to read a little bit of this to you, and I want you to see the hypocrisy out there and the ridiculous nature of the things that I point out in this book. Let's see. Let me get to the right part because I don't want to bore you with everything. Here we go. One of the more hilarious yet ridiculous statements I've ever read against making our children safer by hardening schools was made by apparently a dope-smoking hippie who is a professor of education at UCLA and director of the Center for the Transformation of Schools, Pedro Noguera, where he made the flowery statement, "The idea is that we're not safe simply because we have police officers with guns. We're safe because people respect the laws. We're safe because we respect each other, and we need to find ways to reinforce those bounds of solidarity in our society that allow us to live a safe and comfortable life." What a load of crap. Here's my response to this. Hey, Pedro, you know who doesn't respect laws? You know who doesn't respect you? You know who couldn't care less about your cute little safe and comfortable life? Criminals and rampage killers. While you're having some cotton candy love fest and dancing around in your mom's underwear, picking daisies in a field full of unicorns singing Celine Dion songs, a rampage killer is kicking in the unsecured front door of your school and ready to smoke any innocent soul who falsely believed all that idiotic feel-good jibber-jabber that you just vomited out of your face hole. This guy went on to say security tends to actually make us feel more stressed and less able to relax when there are people around with guns who are patrolling. Wow. Apparently they don't drug test professors at UCLA. This guy thinks children will feel less safe with armed security personnel protecting their lives. Apparently the bar is pretty low for education leaders in the state with a bear on its flag. You know what type of place is secured like a prison that doesn't have a single gun-related death within its grounds? A prison. I bet if we built a school behind prison walls that was far apart from the inmates, every single anti-gun parent in the country would send their kids to that school, including old Pedro here. So anyway, guys, that's kind of the intent of the book as far as the tone. It's usually not, I actually got lucky and got to a good section in the book. Usually it's not that forceful and not that opinionated. As I'm writing, What I tried to do is, for those of you that have seen my videos over the years, I tried to convey that same attitude and that same, I guess, character that I portray in my videos in the book. In other words, if you watch my videos, I wanted you to be able to read the book and hear my voice and hear it the same way that I normally talk. So I wrote the same way that I talk. So some of the grammar, well, the grammar's right, the grammar's correct in there, but some of the, I guess, word structure and the sentence structure and things like that might seem a little caveman and hillbilly, but that's how I talk. So I wrote it like the way I talk. I actually had one of my editors that was editing some of it, and some of it, actually, I've just looked at Amazon. Somebody, I don't know if it was one of you guys, somebody just bought the book on Amazon. I just had a thing pop up. That's pretty cool. While we're talking about the book, somebody's buying. I have notifications on my phone that pop up when Amazon buys, and somebody just sold one. But anyway, that's kind of the tone of the book, guys. I mean, I really wanted it to be conveyed as me talking. What I was saying earlier, an editor actually edited some of what I had written, and it was sent back to me. And whenever I looked over it, I was like, this doesn't, they rewrote a lot of what I had written in some paragraphs. And I read through what they had sent back, and I'm like, this doesn't even sound like what I would have written. This is not the way I write. So I kept with the same editor, but I let them know, I don't want you rephrasing what I wrote. I just want to make sure that I don't have errors and that my message comes across properly. But I don't want to change the way I structure my sentences or the way I talk, because I want it to sound like it's me actually talking. For those of you that have asked in the past, some have, the ebook is out there. It's on Kindle. It's on Amazon. The hardcover, paperback, and the ebook is on Amazon. Best way to go is howtomakeamonster.com, though. It's cheaper there. I think I'm $1 cheaper at howtomakeamonster.com. I do that because Amazon, they charge such a high fee. I try to encourage people, yeah, you can get it on Amazon if you want, but it's still cheaper to buy it on my own website. I don't make any more money. It's just that I charge the higher rate on Amazon, so I'm trying to save everybody, money. I'm trying to cover my costs whenever it goes to Amazon. Very, very soon, I will have the audio book out there. Again, some of my truck driving friends have asked about the audio book, and if and when I was coming out with one, and I am. The audio book takes some time because I've got to go in there and read it all. I got to read the whole book, and then you have to structure all the chapters right, so that in the audio book you've got separate chapters and all that. So I am working on that. It's not ready yet, and it's probably, from what I've read, even once I upload everything, it's going to take a little while. So anyway, guys, thanks for everyone who has purchased the book, How to Make a Monster, and Why No One Cares, a sensible look at rampage killers. For anybody in the Southwest Louisiana area or Southeast Texas, I will be at the Lake Charles Civic Center in Lake Charles, Louisiana tomorrow from 9 until whenever, after lunch sometime. I'll be there for a book signing. I'll be shaking hands with people, signing books. I do have the hardcovers in. If you guys had hardcovers that were on back order, they just came in a while ago, so we will be fulfilling those here in a little bit. So yeah, I mean, look for that. But if you're in town, man, come by. Let me shake your hand. I've got some decals, t-shirts, baseball caps, things like that I'm bringing up there, to give away. So if you guys get a chance, come by the Lake Charles Civic Center, Lake Charles, Louisiana tomorrow, and I'd be happy to see you guys. Yeah, let's talk about a lot of things going on. I mean, by the way, if you got a beer, grab you one. I just grabbed this, my first beer of the night right here. I'm a big fan of Shiner Bock, and I just grabbed this one earlier. It's the Shiner Sea Salt and Lime. It's not bad. It is a definite sea salt, not necessarily the sea salt, but the lime. I taste the lime in here. It's good. It's got that, I guess if you drink a Corona and you put a lime in it or something like that, it's got that, I don't want to say aftertaste because it's not a bad taste afterwards, but right when you finish swallowing the beer, it's kind of got that lime taste to it. It's good. It's good beer. Big fan of Shiner Bock. They don't pay me any money. I wish they did. I wish they just gave me free beer. I'd be okay with that. But yeah, Shiner Bock, big fan of them. They're right down the road from here where I'm at right now. Look, before I forget, and I hope to address this again, hurricane coming up in Louisiana right now. Exactly 1 year ago today, those of you that follow me will remember, I was probably doing some live streaming. We got hammered. Lake Charles, Louisiana, more specifically Southwest Louisiana, got devastated by really a Cat 5 storm last year, but they categorized as a Cat 4, but speeds were captured as a Cat 5 throughout the parish. So we know it was. The east side of our state right now, which we're actually still in the cone of uncertainty where it could hit us. So technically the hurricane still could come to Lake Charles, and I'm not trying to count my eggs before they hatch, but it does not look like it's coming here. It looks more likely to hit between the Lafayette and the Baton Rouge area, which is at about an hour from here. So we'll still get effects of it, but believe me, once you've been through a Cat 4, Cat 5 hurricane, the outer rings of a Cat 3 or 4 are nothing to us. That's like, I mean, it was the craziest thing. If you guys watch any of my videos, if you'll remember, Hurricane Laura hit us last August 27th. 6 weeks later, Hurricane Delta hit. Well, Hurricane Laura hit us as a 4 or a 5. Again, technically a 4, but we had Category 5 winds. Devastating, devastating. Well, here comes Delta 6 weeks later as a Category 2. Man, normally, for a Cat 2, we would have probably packed up, maybe left, maybe stayed. You know what I mean? Probably would have stayed, but would have been concerned. After what we experienced with Category 4 or 5 with Laura, I was literally standing in my driveway in the hurricane for Hurricane Delta, live streaming as the 90-mile-an-hour winds were coming by. Not that I'm some kind of a badass, because I'm absolutely not. Because after you've been through a storm so bad as Laura, a Category 2 with 90-mile-an-hour winds, that's like a windy day. You know what I mean? So it's funny how you experience a certain threat level, and you raise your bar a little bit as far as what you can withstand and what you're not really intimidated with anymore. So yeah, whatever hits on the east side of our state or even the central part of the state, unless it's a direct hit here in Lake Charles, I don't think many of us could really give a rip about it. It's like we've been through so much worse. We just kind of make our hat a little bit tighter whenever we put it on and wipe the water off of our glasses when we're walking around. So yeah, man, if we do get a shift of it and we start getting bad weather over here, tune back into my channel, of course, because I will be live streaming. I'll be in my front yard live streaming again. I'm going to go grab me some extra beer tomorrow, so I've got plenty of beer in case we lose power or something like that. But yeah, we'll be doing that. So yeah, that's what's going on around here. The gun show, for those of you that were intending to go to the gun show tomorrow at the Lake Charles Civic Center, I do want to mention this. Because of the hurricane and because of the local threat down here, the gun show was going to be Saturday and Sunday at the Lake Charles Civic Center. They have now canceled Sunday because the Lake Charles Civic Center is going to be a shelter for other parts of the state where people don't have a safe place to go. So the gun show is only going to be tomorrow on Saturday, only tomorrow. Remember that. A lot of people would come after church on Sundays to the gun show. And remember, that's going to be a shelter at that point. You know, the hurricane's supposed to be landing Sunday night, early Monday morning. So that will be a shelter. So please, 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 anybody that you know that had intentions of going to the gun show in Lake Charles, Louisiana, let them know Sunday don't go because it's going to be a shelter. Again, that will be only Saturday. Okay, let's get to some of the other stuff. A lot of stuff going on. Of course, the situation in Afghanistan. Wow. I mean, I don't care who you supported as president. What a cluster, man. I've talked to military people. I spoke to a special forces guy earlier. I've talked to politicians. I've talked to so many people over the last few days. And I find myself repeating myself of how embarrassed I am right now. I'm not embarrassed of the United States because I truly love this country. At its core, we have the greatest country in the world. And I absolutely love our country. I will never denounce our country. Just not going to. There's plenty wrong with our country, but there's plenty right. There's way more right. And regardless of who the president is, I'll never not love this country. but I'm embarrassed for us right now. Very much embarrassed. We are viewed on the world stage right now as absolute failures. We're viewed as cowards. The good thing is, everybody knows that it's because of who our president is. They understand that because you didn't hear a peep out of Al Qaeda in them, and this is not a pro-Trump rant, pro-Trump rant that I'm about to say. But we didn't have Marines getting killed dozens at a time when Donald Trump was in there. For all the stupid things that Donald Trump might have said, when you tell the people at the Taliban or whoever else over there that if you mess with our people, we will absolutely destroy you. We will carpet bomb your ass. They believed Donald Trump. Whether he was full of crap or not, I don't care. They absolutely believed what Donald Trump said. When Joe Biden got on there last night and could care less about those Marines and Navy member, a service member that were murdered, he said, we'll find you, we'll hunt you down, we'll make you pay for this. We all knew that that was just lip service, and everybody else out there knew it was lip service. Do you think anybody with the Taliban or anybody that was responsible for those murders of our servicemen, do you think they believe that threat? First of all, how do you hunt somebody down when you're retreating? It's a full-blown retreat. You call it what you want, evacuation, whatever. We are retreating from Afghanistan right now, especially after being told by the Taliban to get out, and especially after being attacked. We're running. Joe Biden is allowing our troops, or making our troops, run with their tails tucked between their legs. Our troops are trained to return fire when they're fired at. Our troops are trained how to shoot people. Our troops are trained how to provide defense or an attack, whatever. You know what our troops are not trained as? Being ticket agents at an airport. We put our troops in a horrible, horrible situation at the gate of Kabul. There's no reason why we should have had our troops basically being ticket checkers and gate checkers at some third world airport on the other side of the world where there's zero security. And of all people to be providing the outer perimeter security, the Taliban? We are expecting the Taliban to actually be that outer border of security? That's who we're relying on? You know, if you think about it this way, the Taliban let their own people. They probably saw who these suicide vest people were and let them come in because they were responsible for the outer perimeter. That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with an inept, incompetent person in the White House. And I don't think, yeah, I've said it before, I don't think Joe Biden is calling the shots. I really don't. I think he's cuckoo. I think he's got something wrong with him. You can look at video of him not even 9 to 12 months ago. He's not the same person. He's slipping fast. Even his steps. His steps are sharp. You know what I mean? It's not a flow when you walk. The average person kind of has a flow when they walk. You know, of course, a white person like me, I have less of a flow. But anyway, people flow when they walk. His are choppy. It's like that when he walks. It's like he has to think about his steps. He has to plan his steps ahead of him. He's not the same person. He's a hollow shell of the person that he was, which he's always been a horrible person. I mean, the guy didn't want us to kill bin Laden, for God's sakes. Yet he tries to take credit for that. So the guy's a complete failure as it is, but he is not the one, in my opinion. I have no proof of this, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I know better, but I do not believe that he is calling the shots. Whoever is truly doing an absolutely horrible job right now, putting a lot of people in danger, and I will be absolutely surprised if we do not have more attacks going forward. What is it right now? 7:29. So right now it's probably 3, 4 o'clock in the morning over there, something like that. So yeah, it's about to be daybreak over there, and I mean, I look for more stuff to happen. I mean, I really do. What's the repercussions? All you got to do is go disappear into the landscape. They've already made it very clear that we're not going to have people behind that are over there anymore. Joe Biden apparently doesn't have the stomach to protect us and to protect our people. I worry about what happens stateside. And I think that's where us as responsible gun owners comes in. I think that we're going to have to be the ones that are more aware of our surroundings because, after 2001, I think everybody kind of got on point. I think everybody's spidey senses, if you will, were kind of on 10. I think you were looking for stuff. You were aware if something looked out of place. I think most of us were capable of spotting that and kind of, if nothing else, analyzing it for a second before we let it go. That kind of went away because we haven't had a whole lot of, issues. Of course, Obama called the Fort Hood shooting workplace violence. That was terrorism. So we had Fort Hood, we had San Bernardino, where the Islamic extremist and his wife shot all those people at that workplace. And then you had the Pulse nightclub shooting. That was Islamic extremists. So we've had 3 Islamic extremist type killings on a bigger scale. I'm sure there's others that have happened. But those are the 3 that come to mind. And it's been a little while since we've had those. And those were more, I don't want to say homegrown because it sounds like I'm using their terminology, but they were people who were already here. What I'm worried about is the ones that are coming in now. We've evacuated 101,000 according to the White House today, which, I mean, who knows what's really true from them at this point. But nevertheless, if we've brought 100,000 people out of Afghanistan, there's no telling how many have made it back here to the States. And why even bother coming back here to the States when all you got to do is go to Mexico and you can come straight up the border for free. And, well, I'll say free. I guess you're going to pay a coyote or the cartels. But you come right in, nobody's going to question you. My wife made the comment last night. It was clever when she said it. But all these people out there, like the interpreters and all those people who have done work for the U.S. military in Afghanistan who are in danger right now, and for some strange reason, our government is not necessarily, bringing them back to the States. My wife said, well, the easy way to the United States, if you really want to get here, is just go to Mexico. They'll let you right in through the southern border. And she's right. I mean, they're not going to question you. So it's sad that we're at that point. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's where we're at with that. I mean, I know it's not gun related, guys, but it is a hot topic. And, I just felt like it's something I needed to talk about real quick because I do have the utmost respect for service members. I just feel like a lot of these service members out there, I mean, think about it, guys, especially any of you that have been in the service. A lot of younger service members, I'm not talking about the ones that are going in there for a career that know they want to be a Navy SEAL or something. Your average service member usually goes in because they don't want to go to college. Some can't go to college. And they don't have a job. And it's like, it's tough to just come right out of high school, and go do something. So a lot of them are going in there to either, get the money for college or, to do some, even get some education in the military for a trade that you can use once you get out. They're not enlisting so that they can go check people's passports at some horribly dangerous gate that the Taliban control in Afghanistan. That's not what they signed up for. They never intended to do this kind of stuff. And I just feel bad for them because they don't have a say in this. Us, now granted they signed up for it. I'm not saying they didn't sign up for it. But if we have a job where our boss asks us to do something really stupid, we can just tell them pound sand and we walk. We go somewhere else. They do that over there and they got a record a mile long that follows them around, dishonorable discharge or whatever. So it's just an unfortunate situation. You're being put in harm's way and you're being put in harm's way and there's nothing you can do about it. I saw somebody mention the vaccine, what a cluster there. What about all these people who enlisted not wanting to get a vaccine and now they're being forced to get a vaccine that is still experimental. Call it what you want, and this is not an anti-vax rant. This is a freedom rant. This is a rant about liberty. You want the vaccine? Get it. Rock on. You don't want the vaccine? Don't get it. Rock on. You do whatever you want. No one should be forced to do anything. Don't give me the bull crap about keeping your neighbors safe. That's proven that that doesn't make any difference. You decide if it's right for you. If it is, get it. I'm not going to mess with you. I'm not going to pick on you. I'm not going to bully you. I'm not going to belittle you. But if I decide I don't want to get it, screw you. Don't do the same to me, because we're going to have problems. And that's a shame that these service members are going to be forced to do this. You know, it's just not right. It's one of those things where I feel like it's just another way that we learn to accept, or they're trying to get to where they teach us to learn to accept, to just take it, to just go with the punches. Whatever they say, no matter how much we disagree, just deal with it. It's easier to just get, you know, it's easier if you just got your shot and just move on with the rest of the crowd, with the rest of the sheep. Just get in there with them. And I shouldn't say that, because, again, I don't mean to belittle people with the vaccine. I'm more belittling the people who willfully get it just because they're told to get it. We should all be questioning if it's right for us. All of us should. You should all be looking at our health reasons. Look, if you don't need it, and if you have no pre-existing conditions, and you're not an unhealthy person, and you don't have a a history of family, whatever, diabetes or whatever in your family, why would you? That's why I haven't gotten it. You know, honestly, I haven't gotten it. My wife got it. We have a special needs son. He will never live on his own. You know why I haven't gotten it? You know why she got it? It's in case they're right or they're wrong. We want to make sure that we have both sides of it covered, so that one of us is here to protect our son and to take care of our son. In other words, get the vaccine is the only way we're ever going to live and survive through this pandemic. Well, guess what? My wife has it. So I'll be the one who dies, and my wife will be here to take care of my son. But guess what? If they screwed up and the vaccine is poison, my wife's going to be the one that dies, and I'll be here to take care of my son. So that's why we did it. I'm not going to let anyone make me take it. I'm actually of the O negative blood type. I'm a healthy person. I exercise. I've actually been taking a good regimen of, I think it's B3 and vitamin C and zinc. And my immune system has always been solid. I rarely get sick. So I feel like I'm the one that is better off not taking it. Again, it's our personal choice because of our son is why we did this. No one is going to change the way we are approaching what I do for my son. The federal government and nobody else. If they start mandating things, this is where they're going to have a problem right here. And I'm not trying to sound like a Billy Badass. I'm letting you know that I'm not taking a vaccine that they make me take. Again, my wife is taking it, so I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm just telling you that I still truly in my heart believe that it's experimental, and I do not think that now is the time to be taking something that's experimental. I don't think that is the right thing to do. And again, that is my opinion. I will always believe that, and the government has lied to us too much. You know what blows my mind, and I'm gonna say this and get off the vaccine thing real quick. What blows my mind is all these people out there who argue for taking the vaccine. And they're the same people that tell you how much they distrust the government. Think about that. They hate the government. They distrust the government. So many people didn't trust the vaccine at first because it was Donald Trump's vaccine. Now it's the same exact vaccine. They still distrust the government in general, but because Biden is president, they're taking the vaccine. It's the government. The FDA, that's the government. The CDC, that's the government. All these people who hate the government and don't trust the government suddenly trust the government to tell them that the chemical that they want to force into their body is perfectly healthy for you. And we catch them in all the lies. The CDC, the NIH, World Health Organization, the FDA, they've all been caught in numerous lies. This isn't some, what am I trying to say, some conspiracy theory or whatever. This isn't some dark web thing that I'm talking about. This is all stuff that you turn the TV on, and every other day, they're all caught in a lie somewhere. Masks work, masks don't work. They cover up the numbers. At first, it used to be when there was no vaccine, everybody was worried about the count of the coronavirus deaths out there. Now that there's not as many deaths and people are not dying at record rates like they claimed before, now all of a sudden they're counting and focusing on cases. Why did you stop counting deaths and now you're counting cases? It's because the deaths went away. And now that doesn't tell your story or make your point or scare people into taking a vaccine or whatever else you want them to do, wear a mask or whatever. So now you've switched, now you've moved the goalposts. So most people in the back of their head did not realize that the scoreboard changed. They didn't realize that before, every time we heard a number, it was deaths. Now they hear this massive number. Oh, wow, that sounds like a big number. But it's cases. They're not even hardly reporting deaths anymore. And why would everybody before, anytime someone died, they died with coronavirus. But if somebody dies with the vaccine, they suddenly now list what they actually died of. Again, it's the hypocrisy and the deceitfulness. Which this is going to sound really stupid, if the federal government didn't lie to us so much, maybe we would trust them. But I don't trust them because they lie too much and they're caught in their lies all the time, and they never correct their old lies. In other words, when they lie and they're caught, they never say, we were wrong about that. They just move on to the next thing. So they could say that this apple is green. Well, let me choose something else because there are green apples. They could say this apple is purple, and 6 weeks later go, oh, that apple's red. Well, what about when you said it was purple? Oh, well, these apples are red. Well, I know they're red, but you said 6 weeks ago that they were purple. These apples are red. We know that. That's how they are. They will never retract it and go, our mistake. We messed up on that. Now this is what we think, and this is why we think that. They never do that. And so that's what makes people not trust them, because they don't ever explain their mistakes and their missteps and how they do that. So anyway, let me get off of that. I apologize. I'm talking to you guys like I'm talking to my partners down the road or something like that after drinking a beer. Gun stuff. There's some gun stuff going on right now. I talked about, oh gosh, actually it's funny because Ammo Land put an article out on it just yesterday, I believe. If you guys will remember, I think I did a live stream or a video last week, it was, about how they are trying to make it to where those of us that don't have the vaccine not only are going to have to show a vaccine card, but we're going to be put on a no-fly list to where we can't fly on an airplane unless we've had the vaccine administered to us. And I mentioned in my video last week that was their way, because the Democrats have tried for many, many years now to have everybody that's on the no-fly list tie that list to the NICS system, the National Instant Criminal Background Check system, whenever we go to buy a gun. So the Democrats have wanted to make that list they call it a no-fly, no-buy list. They've been trying to do that for many years, and luckily and fortunately, I don't know how, but even with the Rhino Republicans in Congress, they've still managed to fight this thing off and not allow it to be implemented. Well, now we see where the numbers are really coming and the puzzle pieces are coming together, because the Democrats are still pushing for the no-fly, no-buy, meaning that if you go on the no-fly list, you cannot purchase a gun. And then on the other hand, the federal government is also trying to pass, or at least hinting about trying to pass legislation to where if you do not get a vaccine, that you go on the no-fly list. So it sounds innocent, like, oh, well, Paul's going to go on the no-fly list because he doesn't want his vaccine. Well, guess what? Now Paul can't buy a gun. So they're trying to criminalize every one of us that don't have the vaccine. So essentially, if I don't get the vaccine, now I can't buy guns anymore. I'll be a felon if I have guns. I assume I'll be a felon if I have guns. My guess is they won't come take my guns from me. I just won't be able to buy any more in the future. Well, you know what that does? It makes me, at that point, buy guns illegally. And I say illegally with air quotes, because I should be able to buy guns no matter whether I fill out a 4473 or what. That's legal in the United States. So that's where Ammo Land actually put an article out about that, I think, yesterday. But again, I mentioned this last week in a video, so I didn't copy their article. That's something that I've always kind of seen as being a big red flag. Red flag laws, that's something else they want to push back through. Just a lot of weird stuff going on in the gun community. NRA got canceled. That's really weird that that happened. I've heard some bad information and some misinformation that it was due to coronavirus, state of Texas, numbers, and all that. That's a lie. Texas is open. If you look at the state of Louisiana, guys, I live in what would be considered the heel of the boot of Louisiana. I'm 25 minutes from the Texas border, the Texas state line. Houston is 2 hours from where I sit right now. The state of Texas is wide open, just like the state of Louisiana, except for New Orleans. New Orleans is different. It's a dump. New Orleans is not open. It's a dump. None of us in Louisiana claim New Orleans. Texas and Louisiana are wide open. There's a mask mandate in Louisiana. Nobody bothers with it. This is a red state. Texas is not having a spike in numbers. The convention center where the NRA was going to have their convention at, the NRA annual meeting, is 2 blocks from Minute Maid Park. Minute Maid Park is where the Houston Astros play baseball at. Every single night there's an Astros game at Minute Maid Park. It's packed to the gills, full. Nobody's wearing masks, and it's sold out every single night. Houston and the state of Texas is not closed. So if the NRA and anybody else for that matter, sponsors are also guilty of this too, saying that, oh, well, you know, Houston has and Texas are having spiking numbers right now, you know, COVID threats and all that. So we're not going to have that. That's a lie. That is an absolute lie. Anyone who tells you that does not know Houston and does not know the state of Texas. That is an outright lie. That is not the reason why the NRA was postponed or canceled in Houston, Texas. You know what it is? It's because of all these manufacturers and all these other companies who are spread out all over the country. They live in some of these liberal enclaves. They're also spread out all over the world. You got people from, you know, Belgium, Philippines, Germany, Austria, Israel, you know, all over the world. Those people are the ones buying into the threat of coronavirus. They were scared to travel to Houston. They were scared to get on an airplane. They were afraid to go into a convention center with a whole bunch of people in it. That's where the problem was. Hearing the NRA and all these other sponsors and vendors and companies out there, gun companies, claim that Houston and Texas was having a COVID problem, that's why we didn't go, is bunk. It's because all these manufacturers are scared. Their employees are scared. Their employees were probably threatening to quit. They were afraid to go. Their families didn't want them to go. They were scared to travel. That's why it was canceled. So do not believe and don't buy into the lies that somehow or another, well, Houston's having some problems right now. Houston, that is not true. Guys, I'm telling you, that is an outright lie. So just be careful whenever you read some of the stuff out there. I've just seen some of these vendors. There were some vendors early on who canceled. I'm going to tell you who some of them are. Ruger's one of them. I believe Smith & Wesson canceled early. FN did, and IWI did. They canceled early. That was the domino pieces that started to fall early on and really made a lot of these other vendors and manufacturers sit back and pump the brakes a little bit and decide whether or not they actually wanted to go. Then you'd have the next one who would cancel, then the next one who would cancel, then the next one. The NRA got to a point where if you go to, typically when you go to SHOT Show or the NRA annual meeting, you can click on there and they'll show the floor plan where all the booths are, where all the manufacturers' booths are. So you can go in there and look and see what booth you want to go to, what number it is. You can click a star on the app to notify you when you get there. That's where you want to go. The NRA took that map down 2 days before they canceled. So they knew something was up. They had so many people who had canceled that their map was not accurate anymore. And I think rather than redraw it or cancel all those names out of there, they just took the whole thing down. And when I saw the map go down, I knew they were canceling the show. And 2 days later, they canceled the whole thing. So that's why it is. Again, don't let people lie to you. People are out there lying right now. And it makes me mad because It makes it look like Texas and Houston are having all these big COVID problems. That is not true. The governor of Texas is doing a good job. Yeah, don't believe that stuff. It's not right. I do want to one more time throw the shout out to my sponsors, Dirty Boar CLP. This is a bio CLP, and this is their gun cleaner. Guys, I do use these. I know these guys. I'm friends with these guys. I use their products. Yes, they are a partner of my show, but it's because I use their products. I seek out the people that I do business with, and these guys here are not only friends of mine, I use their products. That's how I've become friends with them. Also, I needed this. This is Courage, a new company that makes CBD products. That's a CBD oil. This is actually a cream that you can put on, an external cream if you have, say, like a shoulder. I'm pointing to my shoulder because I actually have a shoulder pain in my left shoulder. I'm going to be putting this on tonight. It's a topical cream you can put on. Those guys are a big partner of mine. Again, I appreciate these guys. Brand new company. If you would go out to there, I think purecourage.com is where you can go for these guys. And the Dirty Boar, I have to check. I'll have to look for their links and put the links down into my description down below. And of course, Spartan armor. I want to show you something real quick. This is level 4 armor. It's ceramic armor. If you'll notice, it's actually curved to fit inside your plate carrier. I wanted to show something here. This is level 3. This is a steel plate, not your ceramic right here. It's a little bit heavier, and obviously you see the difference between the two. This is a steel in the back and the ceramic in the front, or actually this is a ceramic and this is a steel. Just to give you an idea, we'll be doing some videos very soon showing the different levels of armor. This is pretty interesting. This is the polyethylene, I believe is what it's called. This is the 3A armor. This I think this is going to stop up to a 45. Might be a 44. Might be a 44. This might stop up to a 44. It's based on speed. Obviously, a 5.56 is going to go through this. I have tested that before, and it does. But what I like about these, you can put these. Obviously, you see it's shaped to go in a plate carrier. But I take these and I flip them upside down, and I put them in my son's backpack, just so I have this. You know what's weird? This is really going to kind of freak you out. A lot of states, and I believe mine here in Louisiana, a lot of states, you cannot send your child to school with body armor. So they don't know that I have this in my son's backpack, but nevertheless, I put that in there. Hey, who knows? You know what I mean? Between the books that might be in there and other stuff, along with this, you know, if these people will not allow us to harden our schools and make our kids safe, at least this is one more layer of protection that I'm sending my son to school with, in hopes that he comes home safely until somebody sees the light and allows us to actually protect our children in schools. But anyway, Spartan armor, great armor. Friends with those guys too. Guys, the products where people are sponsoring my show and taking care of my show and helping me out, I seek them out because I have a conscience, and I can't. There are certain flashlight companies who beg me to peddle their stuff. And I know you guys know who they are. I'm not going to say who they are because I don't like to bash people who haven't done me wrong. And they want me to push their stuff. I'm not pushing it because their stuff is not proven with me. Let me just say that. I'm not going to say it's junk, but I haven't been able to prove that it's the kind of quality I'm looking for. Truth be told, there's actually a flashlight company that I am a big fan of. I have reached out to them to try to develop a sponsorship relationship with them, and they're not interested. So whatever, you know what I mean? I'm not mad. I still buy their stuff. It's just one of those things. That's how I operate. Whenever I find something that I like and that works for me, I reach out to them. Hey, do you want to partner with this? Because I feel like I can represent their product honestly, and that you guys will believe what I'm trying to say. It's real hard for me to look friends of mine and people who watch my videos in the face and look at them in the eye knowing that it's a product that I truly don't believe in. I can't do that. That's just, that most of us are built that way. It's just not, it doesn't work for me. I can't do that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's why the Dirty Boar guys, Advanced Warrior Solutions. I'll actually be posting some pictures of the Advanced Warrior Solutions, one of their backpacks that I have loaded down. I mean, loaded down with my books that I'm taking to the Civic Center tomorrow. In fact, I'm actually testing the strength of the book bag or the bag because I got so many jammed into it. So yeah, I mean they're big. I'm big fans of their stuff and friends with them as well. So you want to check them out, advancedwarriorsolutions.com. Again, it's at advancedwarriorsolutions.com. Go check these guys out, man. I mean, because of what they do, they make me able to do the things that I'm doing. What else? What else we have? Let me look at you guys' comments here. I'm just trying. Wow. Okay. I'm trying to read you guys' comments here. Oh, Nancy says that's the greatest shirt ever. Yeah, I'm a big fan. These are my shirts here. If you ever see any of my shirts that I'm wearing, you want to get one. As you see, it's got my logo on it. You can go to ballisticink.com. Again, ballisticink.com. It's a little difficult. If you go to ballisticink.com and scroll down the page, you'll see my little logo on there. You can click on it and go look and check it out. It's tough because they put so many of their own t-shirts that they're selling that they kind of pollute my feed. So when you go to my feed where all the Legally Armed America shirts are, there's tons of other stuff that's not mine. So I've actually had some people complain because they lose interest scrolling through before they get to my shirts. But if you go there, you'll find the Make Ammo Cheap Again shirts. I've got the, let's see, the Make Ammo Cheap shirts. I've actually got Make Ammo Cheap Again hats. This pisses a lot of people off because people see this and they automatically assume it's a Trump hat. So it definitely riles some people up. But yeah, go check that out too if you want to. See, somebody mentioned a while ago about the On Duty. Two Feathered Channel says, what happened with On Duty CBD? Oh, it's a kind of a long story, and to not get into the drama of it, I will just say this, that the reason why I was partnered up with On Duty CBD was because of their CEO. He was a friend of mine. And as you see a lot of times, this happens at the top and you get greedy people. And a friend of mine who was the CEO who created this company, there was a bit of a coup, if you will. And again, I don't want it to become a legal thing, but this guy, the CEO, who was a friend of mine, created his own other company called Courage, and that was my relationship. In other words, I knew that the product was made right because he was involved when he was with On Duty. So I know that that same quality of product is going to be made with Courage. I couldn't see remaining with a company like On Duty because my contact, who I knew and who I trusted, was no longer there. And that's something that I'm putting in my body. And quite frankly, guys, I'm not willing to trust that with just anybody who's wanting to write a check to me or say that we're partners. I'm not willing to trust that. I would rather have that relationship with a person who I trust. Hey, it's one thing to have, a lube company that's making substandard lube or something like that. Not saying that my boys over here at Dirty Board do. I'm just saying if this was a bogus batch, life goes on, right? If this is a bogus batch of CBD, life might not go on. So it means a little bit more to me to have that kind of relationship. So I followed the person who I trusted as he built his new company. And I'm proud to say that I'm working with him to try to grow his business and to get it up there. Actually, if you go to purecourage.com, again, purecourage.com, I believe if you use the code LAA for Legally Armed America, pretty sure that's the code. I'll find the code and I'll post it. But I'm pretty sure that if you use the code LAA, you'll get 40% off your order of whatever you get. So don't forget to use that code. Don't just go there and buy the product. Definitely use the code. I encourage you guys to use it. Look, guys, it works for me. I mean, you can't be buying CBD from a 7-Eleven or something like that. You got to get it from a legitimate place. The University of Kentucky is who actually grows and manufactures this product, and it is overseen. So it's not like it's just some guys that are, have a garage that they, converted into a CBD oil company. That's not the case here. So again, guys, that's pretty much it. Again, I'm not trying to make this an infomercial, but they're good to me and I like their product. Let me look at you guys. I'm just scrolling through, looking at some of your comments to see if there's something that need to address. I have not had a chance to prepare for this much today for this live stream because I'm building. I have to send some pictures for you guys to see and post it on YouTube or Instagram or whatever. I'm building because here we are, second year in a row with a bunch of hurricanes out there in the Gulf. I'm building a new protection for my big window. Excuse me. On the east side of my house. East side of my house is one of the more likely places when you've got I guess let me do it the right way. When you've got a hurricane coming in, say this is the eye of the hurricane, the winds swirl counterclockwise. So most of the hurricanes, when they come in, this wind is hitting this way. So it's coming from the east. So that east wind hits the east side of my house, which is right behind me. And that's a more susceptible side of the house. So all the hurricanes who have come, who have, provided any real amount of damage to my house, it's been the east winds and sometimes the north winds. As the hurricane moves on forward, like going north or heading up north and east, then that wind turns and it hits from the north after that. So I really focus on fortifying the east side of my house and the north side of my house. South side, a little bit. During Laura, my garage door got dented. Had to have it replaced. West side, not so much. The west side of my house is broken up a lot as far as different areas. So I think that kills the wind a little bit. But this side is pretty bad. So I'm building a new little frame that goes around one of my double windows in my kitchen because that's the most susceptible. The kitchen goes through the middle of my house. So I'm building a frame with some boards that go across it that I can actually put some sleeve, kind of a lag bolt into my bricks that I can remove my frame, store it, and when hurricane season rolls back around, I still have these lag bolts with these threaded pieces that are built onto my house. And I just take the frame, put it back up there, and I screw a washer and a bolt back on, and I bolt these things to the side of my house. So I'm just kind of retrofitting my own stuff instead of always buying plywood and slapping up there. It doesn't always work. Sometimes the wind will pull it out. The wind's not pulling out what I've got. I've got 5/8 inch lag bolts that I'm putting into my brick and mortar, and it ain't going anywhere. So when you see how I built it, you'll be impressed. I've got lag bolts that go up at the bottom, and then I got lag bolts that come out at the top. So my frame sits down on the lag bolts on the bottom. It sits down on there, and I bolt them on, and then it pushes back in to the ones poking out, and I screw those on. So the wind would have to come, from the bottom, and it's had to come from two different directions to pull this off. So yeah, I'm proud of this. Anyway, guys, it is it's 8:03. I'm gonna get out of here. Charles is from New Orleans. Charles, man, be safe over there. I saw earlier where y'all's wacko mayor was saying that if you're outside the levee area, that you need to get out. I don't trust y'all's mayor. I think she's a wacko, but I'd make your own choice and please be safe. Definitely, I can say that if it's a Cat 4, you guys are going to be a little bit more susceptible to the storm surge over there. And obviously, you're on that side where you're going to be getting a storm surge. So, man, be careful. Don't let this turn into another Katrina. Hopefully, those pumps are now working right over there inside the levee system. But be safe, man. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a pretty devastating storm. I saw earlier, I believe, winds up to 140 miles an hour. That's really close to what we had last year with Laura, and it just destroyed Lake Charles. So, all the best to you and prayers for you and your family. Y'all, please be safe. I will give you a bit of advice. And there are people, I got something in my eye, I don't know what it is. There are people who will get mad at me at the public level for saying this. Do not evacuate too early. I know that sounds ass backwards, And again, some people are going to get mad at me, but it's not like I have millions of people who follow me. So the whole community of New Orleans is not going to heed what I'm saying here. I've evacuated twice in my lifetime, and my wife evacuated last year for Laura. When you wait until the last minute, and I don't mean when the hurricane's actually making landfall, I'm not talking about that. If the hurricane is supposed to land late Sunday night, leave Sunday morning. Because everybody tomorrow, watch the interstates tomorrow. It may already be getting bad over there, but I'll bet you between now and tomorrow evening, you're going to have people shot on the interstate. You're going to have people run out of gas. You're going to have people get dehydrated because they didn't bring water, and they're sitting in a line for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours moving 1 or 2 car lengths. People are going to be fighting. People are going to be riding on the curb to try to pass everybody else up to get ahead of everybody because they've been in line for 6 hours. Happens every single time, especially when there's a major metropolitan area. Best advice I can give you, wait till the last minute. Wait till you're 6 to 12 hours out from landfall, and you will find that you casually climb into your vehicle, you drive out onto a street, and there ain't a soul in sight. And right before a hurricane, I don't know how many of you guys have been around for hurricanes. When there's a hurricane that's, let's say, 10, 12 hours offshore, you rarely have any wind. You'll have like a breeze, a mild breeze blowing, a different direction breeze. You hardly ever have even rain. It's not raining. I can remember we didn't get rain in Lake Charles for Hurricane Laura as bad as it was last year. I bet it didn't start raining until maybe 11 o'clock at night. And the thing made landfall an hour or 2 later. So again, best advice I can give you is wait and then leave. If you pull out of your driveway and there's a row of cars, I'd turn around and go right back again. Because I don't care if the hurricane is even an hour away. That's still going to be an easy ride, because that hurricane, if it's an hour or 2 offshore, it's not going to be dangerous enough. Again, I'm not giving you legal advice or anything like that, but it is a fail-safe method. 10, 12 hours before the hurricane is going to make landfall, there ain't a car on the road. I'm telling you, people, wait till tomorrow. You want to see some entertainment? About 12 or 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Noon to 3, something like that. Turn your TV on and watch the news, because there's going to be people shooting, fighting, running out of gas, everything. You want to watch some entertainment? Watch it. Watch to see I-10 going north. Watch to see 12 going off to the east a little bit. I say I-10. If you know Lake Charles, New Orleans, I-10 comes across from Baton Rouge, and then goes across to Baton Rouge, and then it dives down to New Orleans. It goes south. I mean, I know I-10 is the east and west corridor, but it does go kind of south from Baton Rouge down to New Orleans. People are trying to go north on I-10. Watch to see those fights and the problems. Plus, you got the causeways there. You're from there. Those of you that aren't from New Orleans is pretty much practically a friggin' island. There's bridges that get there. So you ain't driving off on shoulders and stuff like that. You got your own bridges, and these bridges are going to be stacked bumper to bumper with traffic. So just be safe, man. Be safe. If you get in the middle of all that stuff, bring your patience with you. Bring your patience with you. Bring plenty of gas, plenty of water, and plenty of patience, because you're going to need it. But whatever you do, be safe, guys. And that goes for everybody else out there. Anybody that might be in harm's way, please be safe tomorrow, going into Sunday and early Monday morning for this hurricane. Who knows what Ida is going to do at this point. Heck, technically, we're still in the cone of uncertainty over here in Lake Charles. Although I don't think we're going to get it, we still are in that cone, albeit way far on the west-hand side. So guys, look, have a great Friday night. Thank you so much for sitting in with us. Again, thanks to my sponsors, Advanced Warrior Solutions, Dirty Boar, CLP, my friends over at Courage CBD, and of course Spartan Armor. Thank you guys so very much for hanging out with me. I will be doing this on every Friday night again. As you guys see, I've had a change of scenery every single time I do this because I'm still rebuilding my studio from Hurricane Laura a year ago. So once I get that, we will definitely be locked back in every single Friday night once that takes place. Guys, God bless America. Prayers for everybody out there. Be safe, whatever. I know our country is kind of in the shitter right now. Still love America. You can hate the leadership, but still our country is absolutely great. The United States is a wonderful one. There's no other country I'd rather live in. I'm just absolutely embarrassed of our, quote, leadership right now, and that will change at some point, guys. Have a great weekend. Be safe, and we will talk to you guys later.